everybody, to another episode of Multiplayer. I'm your host, Guillermo Dorado, and with me today is my co-host, Javier Ortiz.
What up?
Hey. Dude, you got it down with the imitation here.
Oh, I edit it every week, so I know all of your voices and all your things, your iterations and stuff.
I don't know if I like that you watch us so closely.
Stalker.
Okay. Well, Zack is not here, unfortunately, today. He could not rip himself away from his Switch long enough to actually record because of Super Mario Odyssey.
This
Proof.
has consumed our lives.
It has for the past. I'm actually really fucking tired right now because of that game.
Yeah, it's just so good. You can't put it down, man. I literally have it in front of me.
This is very true.
Switch is right here.
Here's the deal, though. Well, you can't play that shit while we record.
Well, maybe I could.
That'd be rude. Here's the deal. So we are going to be talking about that because this shit just launched and we are huge fans. But before we do that, I mean, this is a video game news show and we have to talk about other things besides just one video game. So I'm going to go through some other topics and we'll hit that up.
All right, fair enough.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
You think you can wait that long?
As long as I have time to cry over the beauty that is Odyssey, then it's fine.
I will give you ample time to do that.
Good.
But only if you actually do it.
We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching this on YouTube, well, you can always take us on the go with our podcast. If you go onto iTunes or Google Play, you can listen to us right there on the go. So you can do it in the car, in the shower, with your dog, whatever you want. You don't listen to podcasts in the shower? It's soothing.
Sometimes.
When you take a shit. No. And if you're listening to our podcast, well, dude, and dudette, you can actually also watch this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at Multiplayered, youtube.com/multiplayered. I'm going to get this right one day.
Yeah. Well, it's soon to be on our
process.
YouTunes, so we'll get
I
there.
know. I'm still trying to get that business structure involved.
We'll get it.
Also, we do have a Patreon page, guys. If you want to go ahead and check that out, that'd be excellent. We have some extra content in there for our Patreon exclusive members. We do offer pretty much 2 episodes exclusively on Patreon, but that's every other Friday. But then a week later, we also actually give it to the masses for y'all to enjoy because we don't want to exclude anybody. But your donations always help us make this show bigger and better as much as possible. But if you don't want to do that, stick around here and get that free content because guess what, Javier?
Tell me.
Show's starting. All right, so here's the thing. I've recently found, we've been talking a lot about VR in the past couple episodes, right?
Sure.
And as I was doing some research for the show, I found out that the first ever VR experience has gotten an Oscar.
Like an actual
the award
Oscar?
show,
like the Oscars?
No. Yes, it got its own award show.
What?
No, Alejandro Inarritu actually recently did a VR experience that pretty much channels it simulates the passage of immigrants into this country and global refugees.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually right now, it's at LACMA, Los Angeles County Museum of Art.
Cool.
And it has an entire installation that comes with some actual physical embodiments, like concerning a room that's actually covered with sand on the floor, a other spare room that is actually to simulate a cold waiting room, and then it also has the Oculus Rift, which it kind of like secures the entire immersion of the thing. And it's supposed to be extremely visceral. And like so visceral that the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science have deemed it worthy of an Oscar win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's one of 12 actually specially manufactured Oscars since 1996. The first one being with Toy Story, and and Alejandro Inarritu nabbed it in the bag.
That's pretty badass. And what else has he done like in terms of work for? Like,
So
what's
he's
he known for?
exactly he's a director of Birdman, The Revenant,
Good movie. Good movie.
Babel. Fantastic movies, actually. I'm blank. Amores Perros. Have you seen that one?
Nope.
Ooh, you should. It's so good. No, he's a fantastic director, and I actually didn't even know that he was going to be doing VR experiences. That's kind
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
People are really starting to attack that forefront. And I figured because we had talked about a couple episodes previous about how Unity's new game engine was making some more cinematic experiences and using Neil Blomkamp to direct. I thought that was kind of interesting to find that Alejandro Inarritu is also kind of utilizing this new medium, this almost kind of gaming centered, but more
Yeah,
VR
I mean,
thing.
pretty much. I mean, what a video game is, you know, Oculus Rift or controller. I mean, you're taking the control of something else and you're living another experience. So, you know, we've talked about it with like the Kickstarter Missing.
Exactly.
As like, it's a video game, it's art, but it teaches you at the same time. It's like showing you what the world is like in real life. Like these aren't fake stories. Like, you know, it's real things that people deal with, and it gives you that firsthand, you know, experience kind of. It's pretty awesome and amazing because, I mean, I've said it before, it's like, what is art if it doesn't, like, inspire you to do something?
Exactly.
You know? And that's what, and it's cool that medium is coming to video games as well. You know, people think of video games like, it's for kids, like, just grown-up children just playing games, but, like, it's a real thing. It could teach you a lot.
I know, and especially right now too, with the political climate and the social environment that we find ourselves in 2017. Like, I mean, John Gailey, who is actually the Academy's president, went on a press release saying that the emerging art form of VR viscerally connects us to the hot button political and social realities that the U.S. and Mexico border faces right now. Yeah. And so to have this kind of VR experience that simulates that, I'm sure it will open up a lot of minds and basically put your shoes and allow you to be more empathetic to others that are having a harder time coming into the country, or that find those kind of those inherent difficulties when they do. Yeah,
totally. And it's pretty cool because, like, you know, trying to think of it outside of, you know, the seriousness of what this VR experience is, like, VR, it's leading to a direction where essentially you can build a story and you can have people choose, like, paths and stuff down that story, because you know, this one's obviously, it seems very linear, like you're going to go through these experiences that we've set up so that you know what it's like for immigrants coming into the country. But I mean, going outside of that, like, you could go into VR and it reminds me of, like, those books I used to read as a kid where you can choose your path, like, you know, you go to different pages. Like, VR is leading to that, and that's a visual storytelling experience that we've never had before in life.
Exactly.
Like, it's never existed. So I mean, we've talked about it many times, but VR just seems like a really promising future. And, you know, right now it's obviously in its infant stages, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if full-out films come out on VR where you can choose the path of, you know, the storytelling.
We talked about, like, was it last week we talked about the Oculus, or 2 weeks ago?
I mean, we've talked about it a few times.
You let us know which episode it was by going back. Yeah. No, but we talked about, you know, now the Oculus is having a price drop, and they're actually making a standalone kind of version of the Oculus Rift called Oculus Go, and so it's going to be a lot more accessible. And like, hopefully, you know, this installation that Alejandro Inarritu has crafted, which is called Carne en Arena, the visibly present and physically invisible. Hopefully that won't just stay rooted in LACMA, and hopefully it'll actually be kind of doled out, like, to a mass audience when we get more of the consumer kind of situation.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But things like that, if it keeps rising, you know, like, there's a huge surge of hope, at least within me, for the future of empathy in general, especially since we're kind of growing empathetic with a lot of things.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, that's the thing about VR. It seems like the possibilities are, like, limitless. You know, I mean, there's so much you can do, from, you know, something as silly as, like, a Mario Kart VR experience to something like this where you experience, like, what a real life situation is, you know, in all seriousness. I mean, you can get both ends of the spectrum with VR. It's like I said, the possibilities seem endless. It's pretty cool.
I dig it. And it's nice to see that the Academy is actually, like, and not just, you know, gamers and whatnot, but a lot of people are actually taking...
recognize it.
Exactly, recognize it to be something that's worthwhile and valuable.
It's pretty awesome.
Teaching things. Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I would want missing in a VR experience, but I think it would be much more effective, and it would be really eye-opening.
You know, it's something like that you need to be careful of, just because people have a lot of problem with scaring people into believing.
Sure.
You know, that's where a lot of like religion gets flack, where, like, you're just scaring people into believing something. So it's like, you don't want to use fear as a tactic of inspiring, you know?
Right.
But sometimes that's what art is. It's visceral. It grabs you. But I mean, if this is a real life situation, you know, obviously you go into it and they're going to be like, listen, it's going to be pretty intense when you put on that headset, so just saying, it's going to get pretty real.
God.
It's pretty terrifying.
So just comes up with a fucking warning.
Because, I mean, you think about it, you can go RE7 VR, or you can go, like, missing VR. And I feel like one, while scary, is in like, it gives you a state of disbelief, but one is scary because it's just, it happens in real life.
Right.
It's terrifying.
And then we have the other thing, Respawn making their what was it, trying to induce paranoia.
Oh, yeah. Where, Batman Forever called it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's happening right now. I think that if you are in the LA area, definitely go to LACMA and check out the installation while it's still there. I've yet to visit. I don't think you've visited either.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
We should do this, though, because I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I'd be down. That sounds awesome.
Always open yourself to new art, especially if it has something to do with video games. Anyways, so moving on, we have a little bit of a controversy, actually, with Bungie recently over Destiny 2. I know, we thought that shit had ended. Not yet.
Never ends.
So back in May of this year, we actually heard the partnership between Blizzard and Bungie. They didn't really express what was happening and what they were planning on doing with it, but now we have finally seen what that is, and that is Destiny 2 has been released on the PC exclusively on Battle.net, which is Blizzard's platform.
Yeah.
It was released on October 24th, and you know, as soon as players were really excited to buy it on PC and try it out, they ended up buying it and booting it up, and a lot of people found out that they were already banned from the game right from the booting.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Apparently, because they were trying to get people who were like cheating and putting installing stuff to make the the game easier or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just randomly banned a bunch of players, and it's really scary doing that kind of stuff because PCs obviously are way more customizable, and you can get away with a lot of stuff on a PC compared to a system. So it makes me wonder if some of these people, how innocent were they really?
Well, right, and even people were going onto Twitter and Reddit and kind of explaining their situation. Some were saying as much as I had my NVIDIA had an overlay of the frame rate, of what the frame rate was, which a lot of PC gamers do that anyways, just to kind of make sure that they're they're maxing out their graphical. Exactly. And he said that alone he thinks might have been what banned him because Bungie released their stipulations as what constitutes a justified ban, and it was saying basically the third-party tools that could potentially distort the shared economy of Destiny 2.
Sure.
So things that kind of infringe on Destiny's code itself, kind of automatically, which are programs like overlay. Overlay programs.
Right.
That people, it could invoke cheating and hacking. But it's weird that that might cause it because NVIDIA actually is partnered with Activision, and they already did a whole campaign for it too.
It's kind of weird. And do because I don't know this, and Mick might. Do you know if the Destiny servers cross over, like PlayStation? They don't. Okay, all right. So that kind of rules out that one thing I was gonna say.
Yeah. So console people they're sitting pretty. They're all right for right now. Now Bungie did go and make a blog post shortly after this news was kind of released and said that we have only banned approximately 400 people, and it has been due to this third-party tools that have been abused.
Yeah.
But they also then did release another one saying that yes, there were a couple of people that were mistakenly banned, and we have gone to rectify that and unban, remove the ban and put them back in the game. But he said that they didn't release a number, but it was a small amount, quote unquote. So who knows if those people who said that the NVIDIA overlay of their frame rate, or other people who were saying, I just had Battle.net, Destiny 2, and Windows 10 on my computer, and I still was banned. They asked us in another blog post that, one was so far as to say that they were all for the third-party, unjustified kind of usage of those tools. None of them were due to any of those internet BS, is what he's calling those claims.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I don't know either, and it still ties in. I'm still skeptical of all of it, just because now that Destiny is kind of formed with Blizzard, it's all under Activision, and Activision I don't really trust that much when it comes to games, just in general.
Do tell.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last week when they put that patent on. I mean, this doesn't really have to do with banning people, although it might, because I don't know what Activision their algorithms detail. But we've talked about last week, where Activision, the patent for pay to win kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if Destiny's crossing into that under Activision's umbrella, I don't know.
Well, the director of Destiny 2 did have a tweet once that news came out about the forced matchmaking to incentivize microtransactions. He said that this is not implemented in Destiny 2, but that's not really necessarily a director's creative choice.
Again,
it's more of a
we said
decision.
It last week. It's you got to say those things.
Yeah,
you can't because of the internet, because of Reddit. News gets blown up so easily nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody they have the know about everything. So it's that kind of stuff. I'm sure as soon as that thing went out on Reddit where the Activision patent was out, they were like, all right, get your tweets ready. We have to cover all our bases.
Everyone now, quick, burn the files, all the evidence. Yeah, tweet. And here's the thing too. I have a lot of faith in Bungie because they obviously have an immaculate, or they've led us to believe that they have a really good hold on the whole online infrastructure with Halo 2 when they made leaps and bounds into that whole category. So I can't imagine that that they're gonna have a lot of problems in terms of these things, but they're not necessarily super in the know with PC online structure. They had Halo Combat Evolved online, and I'm sure they had Halo 2. Mick, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
On PC or not. but they're not new to online infrastructure. But you know, for the game at boot to have people banned, you know.
Yeah, which makes me think that because they're tied in with like Battle.net and Blizzard, I might think that like Blizzard staff might help them out when it comes to that online infrastructure, because that's one thing Blizzard's really good at is like when it comes to banning and having reasons to ban, like their algorithms are like top notch. They know what they're doing, because you know their whole history is based off online gameplay, so they're very good at that.
Right.
Which makes me think they'll lend some help to the Destiny 2 guys, to Bungie, to help out with that, just because it's a new beast to conquer when you going into the PC world. It's completely different than console.
I know. I was like looking up these things, like, and there are a bunch of like third-party tools that people use, programs alongside with their games, like Discord and like streaming services for their Twitch like streams and stuff like that. And I didn't realize the absolute sheer quantity of these things that people are using in tandem while they play games.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. That's why like typical PC gamers are so fucking smart. Like, because they know computers so well.
We don't want to give Nath too much.
I mean, Nathan is British, so when you listen to him speak, he's automatically sounds more intelligent than everyone else. So.
I love how that's basically become his personality on the show.
The British guy.
But yeah, so I don't know. What's more, the ban I'm sure will be solved. Hopefully there won't be any more unjustified bans, or these problems will be eradicated shortly. But what I'm more kind of interested in is the Bungie and Blizzard partnership, like what that could entail in the future.
Yeah, it's exciting, especially, I don't want to go off topic, but Blizzard has done some stuff this past week that I'm like kind of excited for, mainly around like Overwatch, but I won't go into that because it's just...
Well, I don't know any of this stuff. Let me hear about
it. Well,
real quick.
Okay, so BlizzCon's coming up.
Right.
November 3rd, I think, is when they start. And over the past week, or 2 weeks, I think, I've been following it on Reddit. Overwatch is making an American League. And they're having different cities with teams. So like San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, LA, Philly, Boston. I'm really excited about it. Milwaukee. But no, they all have teams, and they've been slowly announcing each one. Like LA is called the Valiant. San Francisco, I think, is called the Shock. But they all they're legitimate teams.
LA Shock? That's kind of...
Well, San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco Shock?
LA's Valiant.
I tuned you out for a quick second.
So, but they have Overwatch teams, or an American League is being formed. So it's kind of cool. It's just like, esports is on the rise thanks to Blizzard, and which makes me hope that we can get access to the Blizzard Arena in Burbank, because I really want to watch esports like live.
I would be
really
down. Cool. I would be super down. And who knows?
We got hookups with Blizzard. I'm on it. I'm gonna see if we can get in.
Okay.
I got some hookups with Blizzard.
All right.
So we'll see. I got you covered.
I mean, now I'm holding it too. It's on tape. If you don't deliver, I have proof that you suck.
It takes a little bit of time, but I got my hookups. I'm going to talk to some people, see if I can work my way in.
Just brush off those knee pads. Start getting to work.
That's all it takes. My jaw is loose.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see what Blizzard... But, hopefully this partnership starts to kind of delve into maybe some different kind of game content and maybe some crossover situations. Who knows? Be awesome. That would be fucking sweet. But we'll have to see what time
and again,
will tell.
With the whole esports things, I'm a total fan of esports, and I hope it continues to rise. If Blizzard's helping Destiny out, it'd be cool to see Destiny as well on the esports arena.
I wonder how that actually would work, because, I mean, Halo did well for a while on the competitive scene. I haven't really heard too much about Destiny itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you could tie it in with like all the raids that go into Destiny, but
they do have a matchmaking. They have like PvP modes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how balanced they are, or how much they lend themselves to actual pro esports gameplay.
I'd still like to see it.
I mean, if Blizzard is partnering with them, I'm sure they could be like, well, just fix this.
Blizzard has a way of doing things, and I trust them completely.
Well, I want to see what happens with them for sure, and I think it's good to keep an eye on it. For the PC players who are banned, that sucks, but hopefully you will be rectified shortly. So
sucks to be you.
But so moving on though, so we were talking about the VR experience with that director, Malanatha Inarritu, a moment ago, and now this lends into another topic, talking about the lead director from Monument Valley, that mobile game that came to critical acclaim a couple years ago, got a sequel. It's a very puzzle-centric game. Okay. The lead director there, Ken Wong, is actually working with Annapurna? Yeah, Annapurna Interactives to make a new mobile game that is based around the heartbreaking relationship of a girl named Florence and her match made, maybe not in heaven. Kirsch.
Oh, Kirsch. Of course, rolls right off the tongue. Florence and Kirsch.
Kirsch, yeah. No, but the reason why this is kind of related in cinema is that he's trying to make this a very cinematic experience, this gameplay. He's kind of veering away from the more puzzle-centric Monument Valley, sorry, to give a experience kind of akin to the inspiration that he's gotten from Titanic, from 500 Days of Summer, and even Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which are fantastic. Wow. But all these
so different movies.
Well, I mean, all these stories kind of have that bittersweet reality of love and first love kind of thing, and that's what he really wanted to tap into. So much as to say that his inspiration for bringing this complex love story to a mobile gaming kind of platform was because we cuddle up, you know, or they thought about the relationship that we have between our personal mobile devices in any ways right now. Right. We are always consistently have them on our person. We're touching them all the time. We take it to bed with us.
It's right there.
Exactly. Touching it now. We take it to bed with us, and he thought that that would be great for building a metaphor of a intimate relationship.
It's like the movie Her.
Huh? Exactly. Her. That's exactly what I thought of too when I was reading this. Like, I don't know if I want to get too far into that realm. But no. And so like already the gameplay looks, not the gameplay, but the art style looks fantastic. It has a very like manga mesmerizing kind of art style to it.
Nice.
But there's been really light on the detail concerning like what the actual game will feature and how it will play. But I don't know, for this director to make a game about the bittersweet side of love and relationships as opposed to just like the happy ending kind of thing, you know, he went as far as to say that, you know, it's 2017, we should be making games about anything and exploring a myriad of different topics.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the way you can, I mean, today, like you said, because 2017, you know, game development has blown up so much, and you know, you have indie games that look like AAA titles and stuff, and that are so well done, and the story are so, I mean, bring it back to Hellblade every time, but like, you know, indie games, you know, and to see this on a mobile game, I'm assuming it'll be like a, well, like a conversational type of game, like.
Well, it's what he is actually kind of bringing over from Monument Valley is the portrait style camera. Okay. And that's how we kind of play the game. There are going to be some like vignette mini games that deal with, you know, actually interacting with Florence and Kirsch, or having Florence interact with Kirsch, like whether it be like. You know, these intimate conversations, or even they quoted in the interview, touching his face and stuff like that to really establish a connection. And that's what they really wanted to do with the mobile device, anyways, is to like kind of utilize those gameplay mechanics. Right. But yeah, it's going to be more, I would assume, as a point and click adventure more so than a puzzle game that Monument Valley is. Right. But they already established an amazing atmosphere and like tone and feel for Monument Valley, and if he brings that over into this game, that's talking about a much more intimate topic. It could be a really interesting like storytelling method.
Yeah, I feel like this might go Romeo and Juliet style if we're talking about bittersweet love stories.
I hope no one dies.
Well, you know, maybe.
It ends with arsenic.
Florence and Kirsch, it sounds Romeo and Juliet-ish. We're like you know, Renaissance style names.
Yeah, true.
Know? So
the game is called Florence, and it should be. There's not a certain release date, but Ken Wong has kind of said that look for early 2018 release.
Oh, okay, so in a few months.
Yeah. Nice. So we'll see what happens, but I mean,
mobile
like
platform, it's gonna be interesting.
I know.
That's really interesting.
Because I'm not a big fan of mobile games as of right now. Like, there's not been one that's like made me want to come back for more. But we talked about Missing. You know, that point-and-click adventure that has a very big point to get across, and then we have this one, which is kind of the cinematic experience and a very real telling of relationships, and especially like first love and stuff like that, and how it can be beautiful and upsetting, but something that you can grow from as well.
It makes me think too, like mobile games can like make their way onto the Switch. I mean, I don't see why not. Like, it's because you can utilize, because it is touchscreen. Yeah, so you can utilize that as well for the Switch. Because I'd rather, you know, games like that, I'd rather play on my Switch than my phone.
That's true.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just weird to see that kind of a game on mobile in general. But mobile games are like, it seems like an untapped market yet. Because right now they're just a bunch of stupid games that are just like
Angry Birds, Jetpack Joes.
Yeah, and whatnot, but then there are games like the Rayman game. I forget what it's called. Rayman. It's not Origins. It's a Rayman game, which is basically like Super Mario Run, but just better and free.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
and it's amazing.
God, I forgot they had Super Mario Run. That's so random.
Yeah.
That's not doing very well.
Yeah, that's, but there's a Nintendo game on mobile, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a market that's starting to grow, and people definitely want to attack it. But I think that Ken Wong's like inspiration for wanting to tackle it specifically on mobile, it makes a lot of sense because we're always with it.
It ties into makes sense.
And I don't know, and if he's using films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind to kind of base his story, the theme of his kind of story.
Yeah,
that's great. Have you seen Eternal Sunshine?
the out of those 3 movies, Titanic, 500 Days, and then Eternal Sunshine, I've only seen Titanic and 500 Days of Summer.
Right.
I haven't seen Eternal Sunshine.
Well, no spoilers, but those love stories do have some kind of a bittersweet.
Yeah, there's always
to
a
them.
bittersweet ending. Yeah.
Right, and I think. I mean, and if you haven't, you should see Eternal Sunshine.
I heard it's really good, and I like Jim Carrey. I'm a fan of his. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, how exactly he's going to go so far into those realms in terms of like surreality. Surreality? Why can't I say the word surrealism?
That's it. Surreality.
Surreality. But it's unique that's going to be a game that's going to be coming out, and I definitely want to play that shit.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And if it's Annapurna, cool. Because like my job. Annapurna is a client of ours, so it's kind of cool that it all connects.
Yeah, and then they already have like a pretty illustrious library of games that they've kind of developed already too. They have An Artful Escape. They have What Happened, or What Remains of Edith Finch, which I haven't yet played.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. It looks great, and it's gotten some great critical reviews as well.
They're very artistic style gameplay that they create. It's really cool. It's like really pretty to look at, obviously, but yeah, I'm curious about this one because if you had a beautiful game with a great story, even if it's as simple as just like picking what you say.
Sure.
Still, I mean, it's a game. It's like a
Night in the Woods.
Yeah. And the other game that you brought up a few weeks ago on the PC, it was only $5 where you
Localhost.
Yeah. Games like that are just like really interesting, but you don't have to do much. But it's still like Localhost is it's creepy to look at. And it's kind of got this weird vibe to it. It's not necessarily scary, it's just creepy, but it's still really cool to look at and cool to experience because of what all the options you have to say and what you're talking about. So.
For sure. And I guess too, like, again, not a big fan of mobile device or mobile games, but I guess it's it could be a good platform for indie developers to start experimenting. I mean, we're starting to see some really interesting ideas and points of topics that come up in those games. So I don't know. I guess maybe that's a good place to start, and maybe something we should start to look into more often.
I mean, especially when it comes to point and click. Old PC games, like you take Grim Fandango for example. Great game. It's super fun. It's super pretty. It's hilarious, and it's just simple as point and click. Why couldn't you do that on a phone?
It's very
good. You don't need crazy controls. You just kind of point and click. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's again, it seems like an untapped market yet. But with the rise of indie developers and what they're doing, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some really cool titles on a mobile device.
And hell, that might actually give kind of a renaissance or resurgence to point-and-click adventures in the first place.
Yeah.
Because those are already pretty much dead at this point.
Yeah, you really don't get them too much. Again, it's like those old PC games that you would get. But, I mean, why not put it on a mobile device or Switch even? Because Switch can...
If they started to utilize that genre on a mobile device, I might start getting really into it because I think that'd be great. That's a genre that I feel like needs to come back.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way to tell stories.
In fact, you might be able to get Grim Fandango on like the iTunes store, I think.
It's called Grim Fandango in all caps.
Yeah.
And but just have them run and collect coins.
And collect Pokeballs.
Yeah.
I do think that the iTunes store has those types of games, which if they do, why not see a renaissance of the point and click adventures?
Yeah, and especially, like that's a lot of the newer generation's first foray into gaming now.
Exactly.
So I think it's a perfect, I mean, that was actually my first foray into gaming was like PC point and click adventures. Like would it be with like Freddy Fish or like Pajama Sam? Like
I mean, I used to play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, so man, you should bring that to mobile.
Easily put that on a cell phone. It's not hard. Like those games don't require much. Like, it's
I know.
It's totally possible.
Again, Monument Valley was a great atmospheric puzzle game that did very well. Got a sequel, and it has. I have actually yet to play it as well, but after reading the whole article with what Ken Wong, the director, is trying to do with this newer game, it kind of makes me want to go back and see what he really can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
With his past experience, but especially in conjunction with Annapurna and what they've done, I feel like this game is going to be something to really look forward to.
Yeah. Something pretty to look at, and an engaging story that depending on if he really follows suit with his previous projects, that kind of leaves you with that bittersweet feeling at the end. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
And I think too, like, you know, I'm always a fan of more realistic stories anyways. Like, he's making it a point to, like, he doesn't want this to have, like, a nice, like, bow at the very end of the film. Like, everything's right nice and wrapped up, and there's a happy ending. Like, that's not how yeah, exactly. That's not how life goes often, and he really wants to tackle that in a game, and I think that that's awesome, you know?
Yeah, there's, like, a common theme here. You know, there's a VR experience where you don't feel good about it, but at the end, you experience something, and then you've got this game where it's like, hey, sometimes love doesn't leave you happy.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting too, because like a lot of people used to get their empathy from books, you know, like being able to, like, you know, when we didn't have games or films even, we would actually go back to reading and putting ourselves in the mind and shoes of another person and getting that empathy. But now that we're in this new technological age,
I mean,
we're getting it from our mobile games.
Look, I mean, and not to veer off topic, the history of storytelling, you know, it starts through word of mouth. It has gone through paintings. It has gone through stories, written stories, Shakespearean plays. It's gone through TV shows, films. Now we're at video games.
Right.
I mean, storytelling has evolved the same way civilization and humans have evolved. So, again, art is passed off to the next generation, and video games are clearly the future. When you see the investment that some people make into games for not only sports, but for, you know, storytelling through films, filmmaking, through VR experiences, like, again, the future is very bright for video games, and like the art of storytelling is evolving with them, and it's becoming more of a, you know, it's less about, oh, it's a kid thing, where it's more of like, it's an experience that anyone can appreciate.
You're right, exactly. Yeah. I'm excited. I want to see more.
Me too.
But as of right now, they're very tight-lipped with the details, so we'll have to figure out, we'll keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe I'll have a review of it too when it releases.
I wouldn't mind playing it.
Hell yeah. So, now, we can finally get to our main topic of the day, and that is Mario motherfucking Odyssey.
Odyssey!
All right, so the game has released, and here's the deal.
It's beautiful.
This was released in tandem with Assassin's Creed Origins and Wolfenstein 2, but I'm willing to make a bet and say...
October 27th.
I know, it was a big day. I am willing to put my foot down and have this opinion and say that the only one of those games you need to play is Mario Odyssey.
You know, it's interesting. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about October 27th, all the releases, the 3 big releases coming out.
Sure.
And they were really interested about, like, who's going to be the top seller of, like, that weekend. And, you know, it's interesting to look at because, you know, you've got Wolfenstein 2, Assassin's Creed, which I think would technically win just because those games are multi-platform.
Sure.
And the, you know, Odyssey sales depend on the Switch sales, but at the same time, the Switch sales have been like consistently going up. As soon as they release, they sell out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just interesting because like the Legend of Zelda outsold the Switch, which is weird to think about.
Yeah, by like 0.2 million.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's really weird. But like people bought the Zelda game without buying the Switch.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd really be interested to see what the Odyssey sales are by the end of the weekend.
So yeah, exactly. And so here's the thing too. This game is a little bit different. It's kind of going back to the days of the Super Mario 64 and to Super Mario Sunshine and Galaxy, which is a 3D platformer and really
world and just,
exactly very sandbox mode kind of thing. This has been a huge discussion or point of topic. What is it I'm looking for? Topic of interest.
Topic of interest.
Yeah, that's it. It's been a huge topic of interest since they released the first E3 footage and like started talking about it. Everyone's been extremely excited, which is one extremely hopeful to me because we do not see very many open sandbox mascot platformers anymore. No. We see a lot of like multiplayer centric games. You know, like we have our Destinies, we have our Overwatches, we have, you know, even games that aren't multiplayer centric but are open world. We have like, you know, what is it called? Skyrim, and then we have the fucking other one, The Witcher. I can't think of it.
Yeah, there you
but
go.
we have just like the point and click adventure. We are seeing less and less single player platformers, and especially mascot platformers. And so for this one to be so talked about and to be
Nintendo brings it all back
as good as it is. Yeah, exactly. So I want to ask, you've had it, you've played it.
Man,
how you feeling?
I like it. To me, first off, it's awesome to see Nintendo come back. After the past few years, they've been down. With the Wii U, the Wii was okay, but then they had the Wii U, which just dropped. And like games, people don't really care about Nintendo. They're like, how are they going to come back? And to just see that Nintendo, like 2017, they just threw the gauntlet down. They're just like, we're still kings. Yeah. Because you've got 2 titles in 2017 for Game of the Year. Yeah. And I've only played Odyssey for like 2 days because, you know, I've only had it for like 2 days. But like, it's incredible. The gameplay is so, and I got to play a little. Zach and I played a little bit at E3, and we're just like, we didn't want to move from that station. We wanted to stay there. Like, it's so good, and it's, you know, it's just so. It's nice to see them bring back Mario to that open world 3D, because 64 brought you there for the first time, and like I remember as a kid playing it, like it like changed my life. Just like,
well, it's still the forerunner for all mascot platformers.
Oh no,
3 mascot platformers.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you play this game, it takes you right back there. But now they're like, it's visually much more beautiful, and then you've got new gameplay mechanics that. I didn't realize how much throwing your hat would be like effective in a Mario game, but the way they've done it, you can use it to jump, you can use it to attack, you can use it to possess things, you can use it to catch coins. Like it's a frisbee. You can play fetch with little dogs,
which is obviously your favorite.
I mean, I have a Shiba, so seeing the Shiba in Mario Odyssey made me just I like flipped out with how happy like I was. Like, it had a little hat on. It's adorable. And like just the mechanic of
spent 2 days just playing with that dog.
Yeah, the Shiba.
This is the greatest Nintendo sequel I've ever seen.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Nintendo finds a way to tie in their games.
Yeah.
So absolutely, they thought of Nintendo, and they're like, let's just throw a dog into Mario. Why not? Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah. So you know, this is definitely a different experience with Mario, especially with what we've been seeing lately, which is just a bunch of the reiterations of like the classic Mario
3D worlds and
right, which was. It wasn't an open world game, but it was a little bit. It strayed from the path of like the New Super Mario Brothers, and New Super Mario Brothers Wii U that we've seen over and over and over, and like almost just a rehash of itself. Mario 3D World was a great game, and I enjoyed a lot of it. And I actually see a lot of influence in this game, particularly too. The graphic and art style are kind of very similar in certain areas. Even some of the assets are kind of reused in terms of how items appear in game, how you gain items, like the kind of sound effects and everything. But it definitely has the feel that they were going for, and that was to bring back the nostalgia of 64.
Totally. And it's amazing because this game is only like 5 gigs. It's super tiny. Yeah, it's incredible. But when you think about it, like, you know, they don't have to worry about like voice acting. They don't have to worry about like crazy texturing.
But the voice acting they have in there is pretty good.
It's exactly what you need in a Mario game. Yeah. You don't need no more. And I mean, like, look at Zelda. Like, they threw a curveball with voice acting, but then you have Mario where it's consistent. You don't need anything else except Mario and like Peach. You don't need anything.
Well, they had at the very opening cutscene, and I'm not going to spoil too much because this game is a lot of fun, and there actually is a lot of surprises. I've been playing it a lot more than you, only because at the expense of my sleep. Like, I'm at the last stage at this point. The last kingdom with Bowser's Kingdom, but that's not the last one because there's some extra ones that kind of open up afterwards. But at the very opening cutscene, we actually have Bowser like doing his like his patent like gibberish and like but then he actually says Mario Bowser, and he like actually like is pronouncing certain words and like what the fuck, you know, like this is different.
It's like subtly changing, but not too much where you're like I don't like that. Right. But it's just changed enough where it's like all right, I can appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. And the gameplay too, I do have some problems with it. I'm not going to say like the game is fantastic. The music is great. The environments that we get to explore, there is so much to do in every single level. You know, in this game specifically, we're not actually chasing power stars. We're collecting power moons, which you actually use to unlock newer levels and to repair your ship and to get extra little upgrades so you can go to further distances in different kingdoms itself. The thing here is that there are two different game mechanics that they kind of involve. One of them first is with the power moons, and that is they are not over, but I think at 800. It caps out at 800 power moons. Yeah. Which gives a lot of replayability to all these kingdoms. And you know, when I first started to play the Sand King itself, I was like, okay, before I move on, I want to collect every single moon in this level. And that one alone has 69 moons in it. And then I realized you can't do that on your first go because it is definitely lends itself for you to like go ahead and keep exploring, then come back when you have newer abilities and newer things unlock after you've reached certain milestones in the game. But there are a lot of power moons, and the thing is that's great because you have a lot of time to play with the game and it keeps making you come back for more. But the other side of that coin is that there are a lot of moons that I feel aren't rewarding when you get them. A lot of the moons you can just either achieve by talking to a character or by seeing a little glowy spot in the ground and ground pounding, and there it is. Which this, you know, it's always great like to get that kind of like instant gratification, like the music and like yahoo when you get a moon. Totally. But it's not necessarily. It's more. To me, it feels more quantity than quality. Yeah,
and it veers off from the 64 method, which was, I think there were 5 stars per level.
6.
I'm sorry, 6. And the thing was, like, every time you go into that world, it tells you, like, your mission objective. Like, it gives you that hint of what it is. And this veers away from that, where it's nice where when you collect them, you don't automatically leave. Yeah. Which I really appreciate.
It doesn't break the immersion. You're still
you can get as many as you want in one go. But at the same time, and this goes back to another 64 game, in the way that it reminds me of, like, Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, yeah, Banjo-Kazooie, too.
Or Banjo-Kazooie, where there's so many collectibles, and you're just like, all right, I get it. Like, I got it. I collect stuff. But, like, there's just so much, and you're like, all right, I got it. Like, I get it. Like, 69 stars or moons in one level, it's just like, all right, it's kind of tasking.
Right. But, you know, and, like, it's exciting, but there is a point that's, like, daunting. It's like, Jesus, like, I'm definitely a perfectionist. I want to collect all of them.
Yeah.
But to a point, it's like, God, this almost feels like the Korok seeds from Breath of the Wild.
I was just going to say, and those are the two downfalls of both of these Nintendo games. It's like, you have so much to do, but at the same time, you have so much to do. And it's like, oh my God, there's so many. Like, you know how long it's going to take for me to, like, complete all this? My perfectionist mind, I can't get all of it done.
For sure.
It's too much. But still, at the same time, it's too much, but it gives you reason to be in those kingdoms, like, for hours and just exploring every corner. Because there's, you know, that's the great thing about, and this goes back to, like, old school games in general, where it's like, secrets, you know?
Yeah,
it's fun finding secrets, and it gives you back to that kid mindset where you're just like, what's that over there? I don't need to go over there. But I'm going to anyway, because there might be stuff. So it's like, as soon as I warp into a level, I look around behind me, because you're going to find, like, those, like, purple, they change every level, but, like, the purple coins.
The purple coins, yeah. There's 100 in each level that, like, actually allow you to buy those kingdoms' exclusive costumes.
Yeah, and that's another thing I really like.
Items.
The costumes.
Yeah, the costumes definitely, you know, like, so what works in favor with this many power moons, and, you know, with 800, is that these kingdoms are vast. Yeah. Each one is great, you know, extremely big. There are a couple of kingdoms that are very small and contained that do, like, you know, maybe have like 30 or 40 power moons, which you can ace or 100% pretty easily. But these other kingdoms that you could tell that they spent a lot of time crafting, and there was a very specific art direction that they wanted to try to implement and feel. And each kingdom is very unique in and of itself, and introduces new gameplay mechanics and new enemies that you get to actually possess.
Yeah, and it's what I like is that the kingdoms are big, but you never feel like you're moving slow. You know, it's never like, oh my God, I have to go all the way over there. It's going to take forever. For some reason, they've designed it where you can get across the kingdom so fast, and, like, but your route, like, it's not boring. You know, it's like, it's always fun and engaging, like the platforming in it, or just, like, doing the, like, you know, I don't know what it's called when you duck and jump forward.
Just a tuck and roll.
Whatever that movement is called.
Yeah,
the somersault, but it's like forward. The somersault's going up. It's not forward.
It's a backwards somersault.
Whatever. Anyway, my point is, getting across the kingdom is never, like, daunting to me. It's always fun.
Exactly, and that's actually the second problem I have with the game. The controls are very tight, and it actually feels akin to almost Super Mario Sunshine tight.
Yeah.
That game had really snappy controls, and it felt really good moving Mario around. In this game, it's the exact same thing. Well, not the exact, but it feels great to move him around. Everything feels very responsive. Yep. The only thing that is a little bit of a detriment to me is the motion controls. Some of the abilities that you have with Cappy are not optional to use without motion controls.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta, like,
specific.
Yeah, when you, like, the one where you spin it around, you gotta go, like, kind of, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to do it easily, you have to, when you're taking in not handheld mode, but when you have the two Joy-Cons, which is its preferred method of playing the game.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, go on.
Right. You do have a couple of throwing abilities with Cappy that are initiated through motion controls itself. So, like, for instance, when you do this motion, which is like a kind of a hard left, like you're directing traffic. For your podcast listeners who can't see this, essentially you throw Cappy around a circle. Now you can get around that with, like, making Mario spin first with the control stick and then throwing Cappy. Yeah. But it's just in a tight pinch with such a powerful move that can clear out a pretty good radius of enemies around you. Or collect coins. It is a little bit cumbersome to do it that way. Another couple things is, like, when you throw not throw them, but when you motion the Joy-Cons up,
throw your Joy-Cons.
When you throw your Joy-Cons at the TV, you actually break the TV. It's a really
very
cool.
engaging.
Yeah. No, but when you flick the Joy-Cons up, you throw Cappy up. When you flick them down, you throw Cappy down, and you can't do that without physically. If you're playing it like handheld mode, for instance, you actually still have to throw it down. There's not a button that's mapped to that action.
And that is, I noticed that when I first played it, I had to play handheld with the Switch, and I noticed that I had to like shake my Switch around. I was like, I don't really feel comfortable just like doing that motion to my Switch. Just like
my Switch.
Yeah, like I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I can see why. Like that was my issue from when I started. It's like, hey, to get the best experience, you should play it with the Joy-Cons like this. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't like doing that. I don't like motion controls. But I think they're doing that, and because it's Nintendo, they have to try and market it towards like kids. So like when a kid's got it, and they're like, "Look, if I could throw my fucking hat this way and that way, it's super fun."
Well, also too, like the gameplay is designed around the movement and the abilities that Cappy gives you.
Yeah.
And so to kind of restrict you to one mode to really fully, be able to play the game to the way it's originally intended is a little bit confining.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't necessarily, like I know Zack, for instance, he loves playing it solely on the Pro Controller. Yeah, it's just a bit more comfortable, and like you still have to jerk the controller this way and that way. Now, I've been playing in Joy-Con mode for the majority of my playthrough, but I haven't really been utilizing the motion controls just because I don't want to. It doesn't feel natural to me.
Yeah.
So it hasn't hindered my gameplay per se, but I'm sure that I could be getting through sections of the game quicker if I had been actually utilizing those motion control abilities and like really like exploring all of the control set that Mario is in this game.
And at the same time, like all that's great, but I'm okay with hindering my controls a little bit just so I can keep it on a controller. Because I don't necessarily need to throw Cappy like completely above my head or behind, under my ass or whatever. Just like, you can throw him in such weird ways with the controllers.
I wish that was that'd be awesome.
Just these trick shots with Cappy.
As you possess another sentient being.
It's like, woo!
You're mine!
That's the other creepy part.
He starts throwing up like pea soup.
Your first experience taking over that frog. Spoilers, that's the first thing you control in the game.
Right.
That frog and like that cutscene that just like Mario's like, and like goes inside the frog and like takes over his body. I was like, this is weird. It's like possessing.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's funny too because like in the later levels after you beat the game, there's a bonus level you can unlock. It's actually the scene from The Exorcist. You get to throw Cappy at the girl, and that's how it explains the origin of that movie.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's great. Sense. The way they tied that in. It's a very interesting artistic choice that they took.
Yeah,
on that
it's a Nintendo. It's
they're kings of left field, really.
Yeah, they're veering towards adults these days. And I really like it. But there's another thing I wanted to bring up, and it's something that I know Zack talked about, where he was saying, and I like the idea, so I'm totally gonna steal it and say it for myself. It would be kind of cool if they had a hub world. I do miss the hub world. That is missing in this game. Basically, you just have the Odyssey, your ship. Right, but not just that. Like a main hub world, it would be awesome going to different worlds, but at the same time, just an open world Mario game where like you start off at the castle. Well, they have one. It's called Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I was saying that to him. I was like, it's called Zelda. You want Zelda, but you want Mario in Zelda. Yeah. But I mean, essentially, that would be really cool, though. Like, you start out in the Mushroom Kingdom, and you've got the castle, and then you can go off in, like, different directions, and, like, I don't know, there's Wooded Kingdom over there. There's Lake Kingdom, where there's fucking Desert Kingdom, and, because with the sombrero guys. Sure. But, it'd be really cool if it was like that, or just, that open world aspect, because right now, it very much reminds me of 64, where you're in an area, and if you go off the ledge, you're dead, and you got to restart. Sure. And, so I'm okay with it, just because it's still beautiful and fun. But it would be really cool, and I thought it was really awesome when he said it. Just having that open world Mario idea, I was like, maybe they're gonna make an Mario RPG. Yeah, I think. Do that. Oh, that would be awesome. I know. I mean, if they brought back another, I don't know, that's probably not gonna happen. But yeah. Oh, I know. That'd be amazing. Okay, but before we start getting depressed with the things that may not happen, going back to Odyssey, yes, it does evoke a lot of nostalgic memories for me from 64, because I was like, again, like the first game that I played to death. Yeah, of course. And re-experiencing it now on the Switch with Odyssey, it's been fantastic. So I mean, there's a lot of things to love in this game. Like, yes, it is a little bit overwhelming with how much there is to do, and yes, some of the motion controls are not necessarily something that I would prefer. However, that has not deterred my enjoyment at all. Yeah, no. If anything, it has given me just a wide desire, not a wide desire, but a strong desire to keep going back and keep playing and really getting all those 800 power moons. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now I'm at the last stage. I have about 217, I think, at this point, and that's not even scratching the surface. There's a ton more, and that's the thing. Like, when I was playing it, I noticed that like on the top left corner you've got those dots, and you're like, here are the moons. I think those are just the moons you need for the ship. Yeah, to move on. And the first thing I thought of was like, oh, okay, there's that many moons in this stage. Not bad. 10, 15. No. I can do that. And then I got the 15. And then I got to like 16, like what? And then I got to 17, and I got to like 25. I'm like, how many are there?
And then I realized that I had aged 3 years. And I'm still looking for 150 moons on this one level.
Yeah, there's so much, and like you said, they're just some of them I feel like are just kind of random. They're just kind of thrown in there, just like, oh, here's one you just got to ground pound, and it just appears. And
but there are a lot too that do have like a unique way of utilizing your environment or the different characters. I mean, they really definitely, you could tell. Obviously, they based this whole game around the possess mechanic, and so you know you get all these new abilities when you possess a magnitude of different. I think there's like 68 different things you can possess in the game itself.
Yeah.
And with that, it just opens so many different unique experiences and ways to get these power moons and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it reminds me of, and I think both of these tactics were used in Zelda and Mario, where like Zelda stepped away from dungeons and they went to those mini dungeon games in Breath of the Wild.
The shrines.
The shrines. And then Mario Odyssey, it's like, you know, on 64, you have to do certain things in the stage to get that 1 star. And it's like, well, you don't necessarily do much. The moon is just there. You can grab it. You know, it's like they.
Hey, take a pic.
Yeah, it's like they stepped away from doing the big thing to get one thing to doing little things for many moons. You know, if that makes sense.
For sure, for sure. That being said, though, the game is fantastic.
2 Game of the Year candidates from Nintendo in 1 year. That's pretty amazing.
Breath of the Wild is still technically the leader right now with a higher Metacritic score for Game of the Year, but I mean, it's battling itself. Nintendo has definitely outdone themselves with this game.
And one thing I'm curious about, I haven't tried it yet, I want to see the 2-player mode in Odyssey.
I've heard great things.
Like, I really want to test it out. Maybe we can do that after the show. But I really want to test it out to see what it's like, because like you could play as Cappy and Mario, and it's like, I'm hoping it's not like Sonic and Tails, where like you can technically play as Tails, but you don't really do anything.
Well, I'm hoping it's not like Galaxy, where one person has a Wiimote and just collects the fucking star bits, and it's like, what do you do? Like,
oh, you're the collector.
So, I mean, honestly, I could talk about this game for a long time, a lot more time than we actually have for the show today.
I could play this game for a long time.
Fucking have, man. This is not good. This is the same experience I had with Zelda Breath of the Wild, where I was like brushing my teeth and playing the game. Like, I can't put it down. It's so really hard.
It's so good.
I'm deteriorating on the inside of my body because like I'm not nourishing myself enough. I'm not sleeping.
You don't need to. Why do you need sleep when you have Odyssey?
This is true.
Just think about it.
Odyssey.
Yeah, you don't need anything else.
Yeah, so definitely, guys, I mean, from me, and we're going to hear what you think. I think it's pretty obvious right now, but this is definitely a buy. You should definitely go out and grab it as soon as you can. Every Switch owner, this is a must-have, along with your Breath of the Wild and with your Mario Kart 8. But this game,
just buy it.
It's blowing me away.
It's so good. And then, once you're done with it, buy Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch.
Oh, that's right.
Because you can do that.
Because Zack will hunt you down and find you if you say anything bad about it. But he can't say shit about it today because he ain't here.
Yeah, he's dead.
Fuck. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, that is our show. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been a pleasure seeing you guys again. Always is. Super hot and sexy. I love it. But guys, please, if you want to check out more of this stuff, we come back next week with all new stuff and new features and maybe some more Odyssey because it's still on the mind.
And the lyrics of the song are in there. It's so cool.
That's actually our bonus episode for this week. We're just going to sing the song over and over on repeat.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you guys, though, for checking out. We do want to send a special thanks to DJ CUTMAN for that amazing chiptune music. This game has fried my brain.
You should have said a special thanks to Miyamoto for making Odyssey.
Taking all the free time of my life away from me. Thank you so much, DJ CUTMAN, for your amazing music. You can definitely check out more of his stuff on his SoundCloud or even on his personal website, which is djcutman.com.
Hell yeah.
Also, thank you to our Patreons for giving us all of the help and support, and for our viewers for you coming back, because we do this show, for you. That's right. Check out more of our stuff behind the scenes with our Twitter and our Instagram accounts at GoMultiplayered. I got it right this time.
Yeah.
And you can also check out our personal pages as well, which mine is on Instagram at Guillermo Dorado, _Dorado, and then on Twitter at Mastorado. Jeez, I don't even know what my own names are. What about you?
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Zack, no. I'm at Multiplayer Hav on Twitter, and I don't have an Instagram, but I'm thinking about making one so I can take pictures of the Shiba dog and
just to do the snap. I haven't even like gone that route
That's
yet.
The thing.
To do the snap
That's the other
mode.
thing. The filters.
I know.
It's really beautiful. It's so cool.
They brought Instagram to Mario Odyssey, and it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing.
That's why I might get Instagram, because of Odyssey. Everything ties back to Mario Odyssey.
Oh my god, I love it. We should play it right now.
Well,
you can also follow our camera guys, who are going to be having their own segments here on the show shortly, talking about their PC and Xbox experience. We do have those resident gamers, and them being Multiplayer Nath, which he has on Twitter. That's our PC resident. His name is Nathan Redfern.
Nope.
As I make eye contact with him, and I don't. What?
It's Redfield.
You should just change your name so that we can just continue that joke on forever.
It wouldn't even be a joke then. It would be real.
That's true. We also have our resident Xbox gamer, Mick Wood, and he is on Instagram and Twitter at Mick2theWood. But guys, thank you again for joining us. We will see you next week, so keep on respawning and keep on grinding.
We love you, Mario Odyssey.
On behalf of Multiplayer, Mario would like to send a special thank you to Jaden Lawrence, Arturo Mendera, Mercedan Kroll Pitaru, and Mario Dorado. Thank you so much for watching.